afternoon, Commissioners. Greg Claxton with the Planning Department with your regular update on Nashville Next. As a reminder, we're just getting into a new phase of the project where we're starting to actually make policy decisions. For the past year and a half, we've been asking people what they'd like for the future, and we're now starting to say, all right, there are some tough choices to make. We need to make, understand some trade-offs between different ways we could grow. For my update this afternoon, I'd like to do something a little bit different. We're hoping that all of the people here patiently waiting for their agenda item will take a moment listening to my talk and actually participate in Nashville Next. We've mentioned before that one of our new tools for this round is an ability to participate by text message. So if you have a phone, I'd like you to go ahead and bring it out, even if you're not interested in participating, and let us know what you'd like for the future. What we're going to do is look through 4 different steps. The first is, in a moment, I'm going to lay out 12 issues that relate to how we grow in the future. I'd like for you to text the letter of the issue most important to you. We'll respond back with a recommendation on which of the futures that we're looking at is best for your issue. And then as I explain what those futures are, if you could let us know, does that seem like a reasonable way for us to grow, or is it not what you're looking for? And then we'll send out a few follow-up questions so we understand who we're hearing from, zip code, that kind of thing. So these are our 12 issues that we're looking at. If any of these are important to you, please let us know. Send us to the phone number at the top of the screen, 270-4565. Just the first letter. Some of the things that we're looking at: access to services, kind of things for your daily needs, access to parks, demand for water and sewer and water and sewer infrastructure, economic development, greenway access, housing affordability, opportunities for children and youth, preservation of residential character, preservation of natural features, transportation spending, transit access, and walkability. I'm going to leave these up on the screen for a moment while I talk through what we're looking at with the futures to give people a chance to think about it. What we're presenting with our futures, looking out 25 years, is basically a story of how we grow. A story based in where we locate new residents, where we locate new jobs, and what infrastructure we create to support where people are locating. A few common elements between the futures. First, they're all dealing with the same growth numbers. We didn't want one future to be a high growth future and one to be a low growth, and people pick based on that. So, how much we're growing in each future is held constant. Second, we're starting with the places and patterns identified in the community plans. All of the futures, kind of build on that rather than creating an entirely new pattern in different places. And then the last thing is we try to treat some of the key flashpoints, contentious issues over the last few years in Nashville the same. And so none of the futures identify additional changing entitlements or activity centers on Bells Bend or the fairgrounds, and all show some kind of frequent transit service on West End. Again, the idea here is we don't want people picking a future based on just one thing, but rather the overall vision that it represents. To give you a sense of what these futures look like, I'm putting up maps of current conditions in Nashville today. We take two basic parts. One is employment. Up here on the screen, you can see in shades of pink where employment is located in Nashville right now. These are generalized, so we don't get into what's going on in my parcel, what's going on my street, but a general view of where is most employment happening in Nashville. You can see light pink to the northwest, but then concentrations around downtown, East Nashville, Southeast, and Antioch. And then the same thing for population in blue, from light blue again to the northwest to dark blue in the urban core within the USD, and then down to Antioch as well. The futures that I'm going to show in just a moment are a little different from this. They use the same color scheme, the same color coding, but we combine them together to show, when you see population and employment together, the pink and the blue, shades of purple, where you have kind of more mixed use areas. This is current conditions where we're currently built out. The next maps are going to show just where new growth would happen. So we highlight the differences. So the first one is what we call business as usual. It's a little hard to see on the screen, but towards the northwest and then around the edge of the county, there's a lot of blue. So we're seeing mostly, we're expecting to see mostly continued residential growth around the outer edge. But then as you get to downtown, north of downtown, and then southeast, a lot of overlap of denser residences and dense employment centers. When we first started working with these futures, we expected the business as usual to be a very sprawling scenario. But what our model came up with was something that actually captures a lot of the intent of the community plans right now. You do see a fair amount of dispersed residential development, but also a lot of infill and redevelopment in key areas. We think this actually captures what the actual trend is in Nashville pretty well right now. The last part of the scenario, in addition to the people and the jobs, is what we call our frequent transit network. What's the network where you could go out and get on a bus, or a train, going every 10 or 15 minutes. And that's the lines that are shown up there. The darkest lines, the black lines, are our regional service and stuff running in dedicated lanes, including bus rapid transit on West End. And then the red lines are BRT Light, like service that exists on Murfreesboro and Gallatin right now. All of these are very downtown focused in a hub and spoke model. Our second feature, called Downtown and Pikes, is similar to that. It takes that existing transit vision and then adds in a few more spokes to get even more people the ability to get downtown. As we were working with this, we started thinking through, well, how do you make this work? If your concern is getting people to jobs, well, you start needing to look at doubling down on downtown to make it even more of an employment hub than it is today, even more going on. And so we started looking at expanding the footprint of downtown, north to Metro Center, within kind of neighborhoods close by, Midtown, and then to the southeast to some industrial land. And then we started looking at along the pikes, along those transit lines, developing those with somewhat dense residential, 1 to 6 stories, but then also retail and services. And here the idea is, again, people are mostly, new homes are mostly locating along the pikes so that people can get to downtown. The next future is what we call centers with adjacent infill. Again, downtown continues to grow. Again, like downtown with Pikes, we're sort of starting to pull development out from the northwest. But what we start trying to do here is provide crosstown connectors for transit service, so that if you need to get from one part of the county to another by transit, you don't have to go through downtown. And what that allows us to do is to start seeing more intense activity centers scattered throughout the county, where you have a significant number of jobs that you don't have to get to downtown to access. Because these places, if they're successful, will be higher rent, more dense, we also wanted to match these with kind of nearby residential infill within about a quarter mile of some of these darker spots on the map, where you say in established residential neighborhoods, we're going to encourage low-scale infill development, whether that's townhomes, cottage courts, or even subdividing an existing large building into 2 or 3 smaller units. Those are our 3 futures that we have that we're looking at. Earlier when we presented to Planning Commission, we were looking at 4. 2 of them came up very similar, so we combined them. By now, for anyone who texted us, you should have gotten a response back.
I texted the ones that were important to me, and I got a response saying sorry, invalid response.
Okay, let me take a look afterwards.
Correct.
Okay. So the key thing is if you send just 1 letter, it'll respond. Hopefully, I've given you a little bit of a sense of what we're looking at with these futures, so you can let us know if that sounds like the right direction or the wrong direction. As we go out to the public over the next 3 months, we know that not everyone is going to be able to, is comfortable reading the maps that we've produced. So we're looking for other ways to visualize what we have as well. One thing that we have is in 3 different areas throughout the county, we're trying to visualize what does it look like if we build out this way. So this would be a smaller center in a more suburban area along a major route. You can see it starts to build up a little bit more at the center of that. We've also got a 3D visualization of where new jobs and people locate. Here you can see the spike downtown. And then, like I said, we're starting for the next 3 months. We're going to be taking input on all of these. We have 3 events that we're doing this summer. The first one is on Saturday at Musicians Corner at Centennial Park. We have 25 lounges, open houses that we're doing throughout the county. The first one is on Monday at Edmondson Pike Branch Library. We should have an online survey available next week. We have 4 town halls on particular topics. The first one is June 24th on housing and gentrification. Thank you, and I can take questions.
Are there any questions for our staff?
Well, I was just going to say, I think if you go online, you can get more information about each of those scenarios to learn sort of how I think we put in how it would affect these different futures. And so you can sort of see, well, if I choose this, then it's going to swing things this way. If I choose that, it's going to swing the other way. And that helps set priorities.
Right.
So there's a lot more information online if you're interested before you vote, or when you tell other people to vote, they can learn more online.
That's right.
Any other comments from commissioners or questions? Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.